Hey everybody, what's good? This is Joey here from Respect My Region, Jay Ping checking in. We are here on the North American Weed Tour podcast, episode 40. I've got special guest Mike Swann in here today from Airgraft. Mike, how you living, brother?
I can't complain, man. It's a Sunday evening, taking it really easy. Smoking my Airgraft, taking some dabs. I can't complain.
Cannot complain. I like it. It's a Sunday sesh here. We're on episode 40 tonight, man. We are officially halfway through the North American Weed Tour. We have officially 2 months left to showcase and interview and extract info and really just find a way to inspire a lot of other people. And so, Mike, it's really an honor to have you guys on today. Mike and Airgraft, you guys have been doing some really cool things over the last, I'd say, 6 to 8 months in terms of Airgraft 2 launching, some hardware changes, some tech changes, the subscription, a bunch of new partners. And so before we get too far into the nitty gritty and the details, go ahead and, if you wouldn't mind, give us a brief introduction of who you are and what you currently do with Airgraft.
Yeah, so at Airgraft, what we're doing is we've created a one-of-a-kind vape platform where members will be able to save up to 50% on vapes just from buying Airgraft as opposed to the 510 or the other closed-loop systems that they might have been smoking previously. What we notice is that for every dollar that a brand spends on hardware or packaging, customers spend about $1 or $4.50.
Okay.
When a brand spends $5 to $7, customers are going to spend almost $30 just on hardware and packaging, and not the cannabis inside. We decided that we had a little time to kind of take a step back after Airgraft V1, look at what we did right, what we could have done better, and what we noticed is that when you innovate anything in the cannabis, the customers tack for it super hard. That's why all the closed loop systems are really pricey for typically half-gram options or a full gram that'll cost you $80 if it's really good oil.
Yep.
What we decided to do was do something different. We're giving away all of the hardware and the packaging to the brands for free so that they can pass that savings on to the customer. What you're going to see different between some of our brands that are on our platform with their pods on Airgraft versus their pods on 510 or another closed loop is about a $20-$30 difference.
Wow.
And that's just on the hardware and packaging alone, right? And what we realized was that we could really change the industry just by cutting off that cost alone, letting the customer realize that they've been paying half the cost of their product just based on the hardware or the packaging, and that's just not right, especially with excise the way it is right now, and you're talking about 34% going to the state. Cool, let's make that number smaller. And how do we do that? By giving away the hardware and the packaging.
Most definitely. So you guys have developed a system and a business model that helps the customers gain access to more affordable quality extracts via vapes, right?
It gives you a better price point without having to change the quality of your and that's major because after the last year and a half of us being in COVID lockdown, a lot of people realized that they hadn't budgeted correctly for their lives, and a lot of times what they sacrifice is the quality of weed they smoke. Do that, and that's major for a lot of people. But I don't think any of that would matter unless the user experience is where it needs to be, right? Because sure, I can offer you a cheaper vape, but if it isn't a better vape, then why would you switch over?
100%.
What we've done is we've created heating algorithms based on the terpenes and cannabinoids found in each strain, making sure that we never go above that, so we never combust the oil. And what you get is the experience from start to finish, because you're never going to worry about, man, will the end of this pod taste earthy because I've burned off all the terps? Since we're using our patented heating algorithms and we're kind of dialing in everything based on the actual oil inside, the user experience is second to none as far as that goes. So we're really confident in offering people not only a cheaper and more affordable option, but a better option as well.
Now for me, that's very exciting because I'm a vapor. I've got the C-cell here. I've got packs behind me. I think I've got a couple Airgrafts in the room, the 1 and the 2. And then I've also got the Moxie darts, the Bloom stuff, the Select Click that they just dropped. There is so much out there. So for all the people wondering, the customized temperatures, I guess the ones that are kind of variable to the different terpenes or the different pod partners, I guess probably is the right way to put it.
Yeah.
in the nitty-gritty of this, what are those key details that set you apart from, I would say, the biggest one or two competitors? What are some of those key differences and
Well, I
that
mean,
really stands out for the customer?
yeah, the first thing I mentioned would be key, right? Price. And what you're talking about is saving you money without you having to sacrifice that quality. So I would be, that would be probably at the top of my list.
Okay, so price.
Number two is the user experience. Um, Price means nothing, like I said before, unless people really enjoy what they're getting out of it. Unless you're giving them something different than they had before, why would they even switch over? Um,
Absolutely.
because we're able to dial in the heating algorithms based on the actual terpenes and cannabinoids found in the pods, we're a step ahead of everyone else who's doing it. When you talk about a 510 thread, for instance, you hit that battery and that temperature is going to go up until you let that battery go. With our heating algorithms, we've got a limiter set, so it never exceeds those boiling points. You'll always, maintain the best flavor out of any vape on the market. And that's one of the things that I think it really separates us because, even, some of the other pod systems have found, elaborate ways for users to find, the right temperature. And what we've done is left that up to the brands and said, hey, man, how is your oil supposed to smell? What is it supposed to taste like? And we've kind of, allowed the brands to have a lot of control in that sense because they're the ones who are manufacturing it. They're the actual extraction artists, and we wanted to make sure that, we were giving the best impression of their product. That's what we are. We're a vessel for, a lot of the other brand partners that we've decided to partner with. Airgraft itself doesn't touch cannabis. Currently,
Yep.
we don't touch cannabis in the United States.
You guys are similar in packs that you guys have partners, and then similar in C-Cell in that you guys create a relationship with cultivators and with extraction companies and then start to provide solutions for them.
And what we've done is we've kind of tried to pick the right partners. A lot of times you'll go into these partnerships, and I've done it, over the course of my career in recreational cannabis. We've had a number of partnerships that didn't work out the way we wanted to, and it's a one and done situation. With Airgraft, we want to make sure that we're building retail partnerships and brand partnerships that are going to last. We want to make sure that, the customer knows exactly what to expect on our platform from a brand standpoint. And if, they buy Friendly Farms today, will they be able to buy it 2 months from now? For sure.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we want to ensure is that the customer not only has the brands that they want, but also has enough variety on the platform to, know that they're never going to get tired. So, you mentioned it a second ago, we've brought on, by the end of this year, we will have launched about 13 different brands on the platform.
There we go.
Everything from distillate to, high-end live resin. We've got a couple brands working on rosin pods currently. So, there's going to be a variety where there's something for everyone. And the cool part about our platform is that we've now, since the price is so affordable, since, we're, opening this up to more people, you've got a ton of people who couldn't afford live resin pods before, and they were smoking purely distillate based on price point. Now they have an option to buy a live resin or a cured resin card from Airgraft and figure out, the differences in what they were smoking. So I think that's another benefit to our platform is that we're offering you something that you just didn't have at this price point before, and it's going to open up the, the vape market to a lot more people who would typically, steered more towards the value products.
Now there's one thing that when it comes to Airgraft, there's only one stigma, right? Most people don't understand the engineering behind hardware anyways. So there's an ignorance there completely, right? The consumers have no clue what goes into batteries and things. And I'd say the most technologically profound brand in the cannabis space, at least in vapes, thus far has been packs with customization, right? Now you need a Gatorade and a Powerade, so it's good that there's finally another group in here who can finally come in. And for a customer like myself, I need that customization. I need those algorithmic heat settings because when the oil is vaped, when the oil is consumed, there's a lot of variables that go into the experience that you're going to get. It could be everything from more or less air in the rip, right, to the heat that we're talking about, to also the fact that a lot of batteries exceed the temperature that you're listing it on. Now, an example would be I have this 510 here, right? It's got variable heat settings that I can switch up through here or whatever. But does it stay at the 2.8 power or whatever it is that I set it at? Or does it go past it when I rip it over and over and over, right? Now, my question to you, as someone who, it's not that I wasn't a huge fan of Airgraft, it's that I'm trying to become familiar with it, right? Is it the everyday smoke for me when I'm used to a cartridge? And so for me, can you walk me through the ideal user and also the ideal path for using the Airgraft? Because for me, it's kind of like when I switched away from smoking so much, I didn't really know how to use, even though it's a simple, stupid one button and pull. When I first started vaping, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I feel like there was a little bit of a learning curve for a lot of us.
I think we were all there. My first experience with a vape was a PAX product. It was one of their first flower vapes, and this was 12, almost 15 years ago.
Oh yeah, they've been around for a grip.
Of course, and I had every G pen that you would load your own oil into, and
Yeah, shout out the G pens. Oh, back in the day.
Yeah, dude, those are classic.
You could wash those motherfuckers in a washer, dryer, and deluxe edition. Those things would still work. This shit was crazy.
Yeah, they'd come out and you'd be like, oh, there's still oil in this. Yeah, I grew up on the East Coast, where cannabis was a little different than out here in California. Obviously, as someone who was into the cannabis industry, even at a young age, I was big into supporting new and innovative products that were dropping. So I was really into that. Back to the question, though. Who is this for? If I'm being completely honest, everyone. We've done something really cool with our V2. We've added something called haptic feedback, which essentially allows the pen to vibrate every second that you draw, so that a new user can figure out what their dosage is, what they like. Every second is 2 milligrams, right? But for me, someone who smokes all the time, and I don't really care how many milligrams I'm taking, and I'm going to be comfortable no matter what, it's more muscle memory for me. So I pretty much stay around 4 or 5 vibrations every time, just because it feels natural.
It's the blinker measurement, right? Blinkers only 4 vibrations, you're good, right?
Really good,
2
man.
vibrations. Hey, it's your first time vaping, right? Oh, you never used this before? All right, do it like 1 or 2 and see what happens.
Take it slow. One of my colleagues actually says a really smart thing. He talks about how when you go to a new doctor and they prescribe you a new medicine, a lot of times they'll start your dosage super low. And then once you come back in, they'll kind of reevaluate what we need to do, whether they need to take it up or take it down.
Yeah.
That haptic feedback allows the customer to kind of do that on their own, which, most pens don't offer. Dosis cuts you off, and that's not necessarily what people want. For us, we allow you to go 10 vibrations, which is 20 milligrams of THC. You're going to cough, so, it's for the beginner, it's for the connoisseur, it's for the heavy smoker. And obviously, with a device like this, there are different ways to hit it. So, like we talked about earlier, we've got heating algorithms built in so that we never exceed specific temperatures. Never go above the boiling points of these cannabinoids. But there are ways to play with that. So the slower you hit it, the more of a deep hit you get. The reason for that is because you're not putting as much air through the atomizer, and so you're allowing it to actually work for you. The more air you the thinner your hit will be, and that's simply because the air is cooling down the heating element, and you're not allowing the thing to work for you.
So you really want to sip it.
100%. I've told
similar. I mean, and it's not to say, and I hate to go back to the immediate Gatorade Powerade, but there's a lot of similarities between the products from what I noticed. Right? Okay, I couldn't help but notice that exactly what you said. When I ripped it, although I got more flow, although it was maybe a quicker head rush or whatever it could possibly be in terms of adding more air into the rip, I guess is the word I want to use. But in my experience with both packs and other vapes, I get a milkier hit with more terps that almost makes my eyes cry every time whenever I sip it slow. Doesn't matter what kind of vape product it is.
Yeah, as long as they're allowed a little more time for the heating element to really do its thing and it's not overworking itself, you're going to get really deep hits. And for me, it took me about maybe 2 or 3 days before I started to realize it. And I realized, that I was getting these bigger hits. I'm sitting here playing video games or something, slowly hitting the draft, and all of a sudden I'm coughing my brains out. And I was like, okay. And, 2 or 3 days using it before I was like, oh, okay, wow, I can actually really dial in what I want from this just based on the speed that I'm even hitting it as well. So that's another major thing. But as far as, who's this for? We have something for everyone. Like I was talking about earlier, there's going to be a distillate product, or there are distillate products on here. We've got, cured resin. We've got collaborations with, Grandi Flora, who's one of the better cultivators in the state. Holy Water is actually the one processing that for them. And it's just amazing, amazing oil that, if you haven't, found out about Holy Water, check it out. They're doing some really cool things, something that they call unholy, where they separate rosin and then THCA diamonds from the same batches. So you can tell, whether you like the rosin or the live resin better. But anyway, really cool brand.
That's dope.
Labs coming out. Oakland Extracts is about to launch on our platform.
Shout out to Oakland Extracts, man.
Extracts. I mean, Taryn is the man. Yeah, I mean, we've just gotten really lucky with, offering something that, is, maybe, yes, it's very similar to every other vape on the market because we're vaporizing, cannabis oil.
But it's not though. It's not though, because PAX doesn't have the subscription service. And I'll be honest. So my day job is with Buddy's Brand. We have a live resin pod with them, and our team, believe it or not, more or less, I believe, considering Airgraft as a more avenues to get in front of people at the end of the day, right? And the reality is that when you can find a way to make a more affordable product, more accessible to customers, you're winning. And so the issue then becomes still the subscription service. So please walk me through what that is, how it is involved, what customers, they get it, they go to the store, they buy a pod, they got to buy a battery and all that, right? So walk me through, kind of that process and getting into the subscription.
Of course. I mean, the subscription program is actually really simple. It's $10 a month, will allow you to unlock as many pods as you want, and continue to stack the savings. Cool part about our platform is that we don't want people to pay for it, whether they know if they like it or not. So the first unlock for every customer is free. If you're lucky enough to catch us at one of our PADs, you'll probably get a free battery too. So there's really no risk in trying Airgraft for the first time, and you get to figure out whether you actually like the platform, like the hardware itself. Maybe even if you'd like one of the new brands that you haven't tried yet that had some really affordable oil on our platform. What will happen essentially is, obviously you'll have to log in, create a username and password, just like Netflix, Costco, any of the regular.
And I think it's on web first, correct?
100%. It's actually all on web.
Okay, all on web.
Yeah, we had an app with the V1. The only reason we got away from it is because Apple was taking down apps all the time, and now they're allowing cannabis apps, but we didn't want, part of our platform based on whether Apple or Google were allowing us to be in their store for the
week. Now the rule is in place. Now you guys can double down and improve upon your initial plans and all that. I mean, as it goes with tech, right? Like
100%. And what we've done is kind of built everything into our everything into our website, so that people don't download anything. It's a simple QR code on the back of each pod, and that will allow them to access their account as well as kind of activate these pods.
There we go. Look at that. I love it.
The cool part about every pod is that it has a microchip built in. That microchip is actually going to control the heating algorithms and connect it to your actual battery. On the back of these batteries, there's a little LED light reader. That's actually going to go ahead and communicate with a light sequence that's played from our website to your phone or through any of your mobile devices. Anything that can go to a website can actually activate one of these pods. Even if you don't have a camera phone, we've allowed you to actually enter in the code on the QR code to bypass, having a working camera, or maybe you've got a computer that doesn't have a camera or, webcam on it. We wanted to pretty much make it accessible to anyone. So, if you've got a little flip phone that you bought from 7-Eleven, you could probably still go on to a browser and activate these pods.
Airgraft for the people. There we go.
That's really what it's about. And the membership is pretty simple, right? Since we're not charging for the hardware, and since we're trying to save customers money on the back end as far as the hardware costs, allowing them to pay for the hardware from us, so they don't have to have the markup along the way. Because once it goes from manufacturing to distro to retail, and then gets marked up along the way, like we discussed earlier, we're talking about almost $30 just in hardware, and obviously your tax on top of that, you're like $35. So that's a really good way to kind of cut out those costs. If a customer smokes one cart a month, one pod a month, they'll save about $10. If they smoke 5 to 10 carts, and vaping is something that they actively do, they can save $100 to $200 just by switching over to our platform, getting better hardware, the same quality oil, if not better, because they are, obviously going to be saving money, as well as a better user experience than anything else is going to give you.
So the real pitch here is that Airgraft is going to save you big money by switching, not necessarily 100% away, because I think people are still going to, we still are going to use what all we use. But like the more that you get into it, the more the savings start to happen, whether it's a lot more pods or the fact that the hardware. Now let's focus in a little bit of the hardware as well here. With the microchips in the pods and the ability for these batteries to communicate and to communicate also with the website with that. Talk to me about the battery life, right? You've got the vibrations, you know as well as I do, anything that's heating up and then also going to shake, right? It's going to be using energy.
And the way we like to look at it is charge it like you would charge your phone. Yes, you might be able to get some extra puffs out of it on day 2 if you don't charge it overnight, but chances are it's going to die on you in a very inconvenient time, and that's not good for anyone, right? So the way look at it is charge it at night. Same way you set down your phone at the end of the night to charge it. Maybe you don't. Drop your charge or drop this on a charge as well, and you never have to worry about it. I've had batteries last me a couple days. Was I using them all day long? No, but actively using them and had it, not charged for 2 or 3 days, and it still was working. That said, if you're a real vapor and you use your pen a lot, you should probably charge it at the end of the night. But that's with most tech, right? Most tech that you're actually using, you're going to have to actually charge once a day.
I guess the question that I then have next is just like with like disposables. I can't tell you what PAX is. I don't know, and I vape uncontrollably, so I'm the worst person to be like, oh well, how many puffs does it work for you? You're like, I'm sucking these bitches down. Is there, I guess, because there's a vibration count? About how many 2 milligram hits do you get then if each rip is, or each vibration is 2 millis?
Well, we allow it to go 10 vibrations, so 20 milligrams at a time.
Okay.
The reason we do that, though, is to make sure that we don't burn out the heating element. Without us wanting to cut off your hit or anything like that, it's us wanting to ensure that your experience doesn't, suffer because, we accidentally allowed you to go a little longer than the heating element should take. And that's really all it's about is us maintaining the quality control across the board and wanting to make sure users are still enjoying the oil rather than taking long, super dope draws that, they blow out a huge cloud on, and then, halfway through, it's not what they would want anymore.
Yeah.
So that's really what that's about.
Yeah. I mean, with when I first started vaping, I was using this, just the classic cheap, I guess what's called the gas station batteries, the super cheap, you just pull them. And because that's what was in the market back in 2015 and 16 for me. And then it kind of graduated, there was a couple other types of, I think there's like the O-Pens and the C-cells that are out there and all these different crushers, I think iCrushers or something else. All these different brands that I've never even, because customers don't even care about those things, right? For those ones. Because there's like so many of them.
Let's be real. They care about the brands, right? Yeah. And
the partners, the people that are creating products on the stuff, right?
Right. And if your favorite brand is using a new piece of hardware, you're going to try it out. Whether you like it or not is up in the air. The brand picked it for a reason. Maybe it was cost sufficiency. Maybe it was, they have a friend at the company and, they decided to give it a shot. But, when you look at a lot of the C-cell options, a lot of the 14th round options and, the iCrusher options, you're looking at essentially the same thing, right? Dressed up differently.
Yeah.
And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Because to be honest, for so long, that's all we had. I was going into the same gas stations as you and picking up the same batteries as you, right?
Man, because dispensaries weren't even able to, because dispensaries suck at buying so much, typically in like the hardware, glassy space. They're buying weed all the time. It was just very inconsistent to be able to get a battery when they were gone or when I'd lose it, right?
And the cool part about our battery is that, what did you spend on those batteries at gas stations? 10, 15 bucks back in the day?
Now they're all up to 20.
Oh yeah. Our battery retails for $10.
Oh, wow.
A proprietary system that is, going to make, force you to either buy a battery if you're not lucky enough to show up to one of our PADs and get one for free. But the reality is it's cheaper than every other battery out there, whether you're buying a 510 battery or, a PAX or SISI battery.
Yeah.
Below all of that. And
Oh,
for
yeah,
us,
yeah.
about making money on that, right? The battery is going to be a loss leader for us. We know that. It's about getting it into people's hands, and making sure that people can actually try it. And it's not, this, whole thing where they have to, oh God, I've got to buy a new battery for $30. I've got to buy.
I watch that happen on people's faces all the time. It just is a thing. Even though it's like even though to a large majority of the population, it's just a cell phone attachment that you need now, right? All the time on you, right?
100%.
Like to use your kind of analogy earlier about, with your phone, plug it in kind of thing. Like vaping is like that now, right? We have it attached to us. And so to make it more affordable, and I'll give you the damn example, man. This newest iPhone, I had to go buy a whole new cube. They didn't give you the goddamn cube.
They've stopped doing that. It doesn't make sense. But, they expect.
But they're big enough that they require it, and it was able to become a $400 bajillion business because of it. And so I know for you guys, whether you guys launch other ones or charge more down the road or not, I know that if the technology's good and you build the brand and people can trust that it's going to work, right, then they're always going to come back to the ecosystem. The fans will be the fans. And so for you, I'm a fan of colored options. You guys got a black one now. Are there other options currently? And what do you guys have coming in the future in terms of any kind of colorways?
Yeah, so currently, no. The black is the only option. We do have things coming down the pipeline. So there will be a rose gold one. There will be a little space.
There we go.
Rich one, just to play off the Apple stuff. We also have a couple collabs that we're going to do with different artists. The collabs might end up being, wraps, like a little vinyl wrap that you can actually put on it. So you can go out and do stuff like that. We actually had one of our the other sales manager for the company is an artist, and he actually designed a bunch of them and made a kind of a Bear Labs collab for Kushstock, the last Kushstock. So we'll all do something like that as well. The wraps will probably come sooner rather than later, so that people can kind of customize them, whether it's supporting a brand that they specifically bought on Airgraft, or if it's just wanting to do something different. So we're thinking sacred geometry stuff, a couple different artists and stuff like that, so you can kind of like pick and choose what you want and have like a vinyl wrap sticker that you can kind of just customize your own Airgraft with. We want to have like some keychain options as well, obviously, so people can kind of wear them around their lanyard, around their neck. So if you're at a concert, you have it right there, and you don't have to worry about where you put it. But yeah, the colored ones are going to be something cool that we do eventually, and there will be like an Airgraft yellow option available in the near future as well.
Yeah, man. Give me that Bumblebee Airgraft, man. Come on.
I got you on that.
Let's go. That's super dope, man. That's fire. I remember seeing, I think I first discovered you guys through LinkedIn. I don't even remember how. But super dope to see your guys' launches. I was a part, I signed up for the Airgraft 1, signed up for the Airgraft 2. YouTube videos are online for those that want to check that out. Does it come charged? Does it not come charged?
It comes about halfway charged, kind of like most batteries.
Okay.
The longer a battery sits around, the lower the battery life is going to be, right? So like a battery that's been sitting there for 3 or 4
months. Is that
months,
generally true for hardware?
For all hardware, right? So like you've got a couple hits before this thing dies, right? And that's really nice because obviously once you buy one, you want to try it immediately. You should probably plug it in on the way home because we offer you a charger as well. So, get that thing charged up. It's a USB-C charger, so it's a really fast charging unit.
Okay.
I've gotten it to go from dead to green light in an hour. So it's a really, really quick charge, and then you're good for the day, like I was talked about earlier. But yeah, this thing is really, really dope as far as that goes. The V1 was a little different, and it had like an audio jack charger. We decided to make this more universal, so we went with the USB-C option.
Love it, love it, love it. I mean, and even just there, from one point to the next, to see it grow, I totally forgot about the difference between the jack and the USB-C. But yeah, now that USB-C is pretty much used just as often as the original. That does charge it exceptionally fast. So I got to give you guys props to that. This one here, and the other ones that I know I still have all still on the regular one. Do have to charge it for a few hours, or I don't. I don't even honestly notice how long I charge things for. Like you said, I have the habit of plugging things in overnight, so that way they're good to go either way.
Good to go in the morning and you're set for the day. That's kind of how I go with all my technology. If I don't
Mm-hmm.
charge, pretty much typically expect it to die, right? Like I just
Yeah.
know I'm not going to get the full use out of that day.
Facts,
Um,
facts.
and with the vape, like that's one of the things that you definitely want to make sure is ready to go. Nothing worse than wanting to smoke and not being able to. You know what I mean?
Very true. Very true. Now, and I got a shout out today for my smoke sesh. I'm smoking on the Cure Company Marathon OG, smoking on the Cure Company Biscotti Fritz, and the Cure Company Curelato. And I am mixing them all because these are my three top strains right now for me personally. I am going to take a dab of some West Coast Cure Dosey Kush, some live resin sauce. I'm just charging the Puffco down below here. Shout out to Puffco. Oh, what you got over there?
Little West Coast, some of the Airheads.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is that what you smoking on?
Currently, I'm smoking on some modified bananas rosin.
Mm,
Um, yeah, a friend of mine made it, so
that sounds good.
yeah, a little traditional market action.
Love it, man. I mean, the thing is when you're in California, right, you get to grow 6 plants at home, which means you can have other kinds of cannabis flower products. Myself, I've got some tinctures and some all kinds of crazy stuff that I started making with my Blue Dream that I grew 2 summers ago. So, we're actively. Oh, we even press some of it into rosin too. So you just never know what you get to do out here. Now, this kind of leads me to my next question, which is your guys' partners.
Yeah.
So I personally have tried a Friendly Farms pod. I don't remember which one. Suck that thing down quick. That was on the Airgraft 1. The
Okay.
Airgraft 2, I think I did one of the Bear Labs one. Don't remember the strain either. Talk to me about some of your partners. If you have, obviously you can name them all if you're able to, but if you have any personal favorites that you're ripping on or anything of the sort,
I
we'd love to
mean,
hear about it.
there's just so much good stuff on the platform. If I'm being completely honest, everyone's live resin is amazing. A lot of that has to do with the heating algorithms, and making sure that we're never burning anything and we're,
Mm-hmm.
best flavor profile possible. Um, but my favorites off the top of the head, Holy Water has been crushing. I mentioned their two Grandiflora collabs earlier. They did a Chemical X and then a E85.
Yep.
Super. Really a big fan of that E85. They also did a Gelinade, and I think that's Emerald City Farms, if I'm not mistaken. And that's probably my favorite tasting pen on the platform right now, if I'm being completely honest. That Gelinade is amazing.
Love it.
But Maven, they just dropped a peach cream gelato. That's really good. Friendly Farms papaya, amazing. Gold Drop, which not many people are familiar with Gold Drop, but they're one of these companies that have been around for 10 years in California, crushing. They were here Prop 215 days, and then when Rec happened, they kind of started doing a lot of processing and white labeling for different companies, and their own brand took a back seat. But they've relaunched an Airgraft pod, or they've kind of relaunched recently, and one of their products is an Airgraft pod. Their papaya punch from that they ran is amazing. They also have a Fig Farms collab, and that's the blue face.
There
That's
we
really
go.
good as well. Yeah, much good stuff on the platform right now. If I'm being completely honest, good God, we're in the talks with a number of other brands that I can't really talk about right now, but some of my favorite extractors in California, and they should probably be on the platform within the next 2 or 3 months, as far as having pods ready to hit the market.
That's very exciting. Very
Yes.
exciting. Gold Drop. Gold Drop is actually, if I'm not mistaken, and shout out to Dave Warden from Gold Drop as well as the owners. I've met them both. I believe they're the most awarded extraction company in California in terms of cups.
Dude, Prop 215 days, you couldn't make it without taking multiple awards. Every High Times Cup across the state, they were taking multiple awards, and it says a lot about their skills as extractors, and also the minds behind it. Joe and Harry are two really, really influential members of this industry. You talk to Harry about Harry or Joe about processing cannabis, and they'll make your head spin. With the knowledge that they have, from years of extracting and years of trying to innovate new techniques. They're just two awesome humans that, we were really happy to have on the platform from a quality standpoint, because we knew everything that they put into these pods was going to be fire. And so far, that's case in point, man. The Gold Drop is killing it. Just making some of the best tasting oil, them, Holy Water, Maven, Friendly Farms, obviously known for, their quality and their consistency across all of their products, and, their Airgraft pods are winning. Apex, another brand that I really like. Very, very affordable cured resin carts that people just love, and that's what it's about, giving people what they want in a more affordable option.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Do you now, for you, where in the world are you coming? Are you tapping in with us here today?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, dope. Any particular area?
K-Town, baby. Koreatown.
Nice. Coming in hot from K-Town. Okay, cool. For the people that don't know, that's Koreatown. For people that don't know. For the non LA people, had to learn what that was when I first moved here. Wasn't sure. Not only that, but there's a lot of Koreatowns across the world and country.
Yeah, 100%.
Shout out to diversity. So for you, I'd like to tap in a little bit about you as a person here on this episode. Could you share some insights as to your background in cannabis and kind of what got you into the industry?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Washington, D.C. And moved to Silver Spring, Maryland, which is the same thing. It's 10 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. when I was 15. Growing up in that area was interesting because it's a very liberal area, but at the same time, the East Coast 20 years ago had really strict policies on smoking cannabis and getting caught with any type of cannabis. Like if you got pulled over with a seed on you in D.C. or Maryland, you were going to jail. And there were no questions asked. It was just the way it was. You got pulled over with a pipe, whether it was clean or whether it was used, you were going to jail. And there were head shops, right? Cops would wait for people outside of head shops and be like, I'm pulling that car over. Look at all these potheads, right? So, it was a very interesting place. Eventually, and I'd obviously been smoking cannabis since I was 13 years old, trying to dodge, the cops every time I pulled up to a stoplight and they were sitting next to me, making sure our seatbelt's on. A friend of mine's father told me, if you're going to do anything illegal while driving, make sure you're doing one illegal thing at a time. So, if you're smoking weed, speed limit, seatbelt on, make sure you got your shit.
Everything else perfect. Has to be perfect.
Right? If you're speeding, none of that other shit, right? So I was pretty on it. But that being said, by the time I was 20, I was probably arrested 5 or 6 times, and every time it was for simple possession, right?
Man.
And, being in a situation that I shouldn't have been in, but it almost felt like a trap where, for someone like me who smoked cannabis every day, who was adamant about cannabis reform and trying to, make a change before I actually moved out here, it just felt like a trap where I just felt like eventually, I'm going to get in trouble and, it's going to ruin my, career. And at that point I was, working in restaurants, doing photography and videography on the side and kind of just trying to figure out life. A friend of mine who I grew up with when we were about 25 years old, he came out to California, did really well launching a company and going public with it. They had an LED light company and they were selling, and they also had a chain of grow stores. When they went public, the shares jumped to like 30 something bucks. They all made a little bit of money with it and decided they wanted to start something, actually cannabis facing. So we started Hive Ceramics, which was a ceramic nail for taking dabs. We were the first ones doing it. It was a really interesting and different product. At the time, this was 10 years ago, we were one of the only ancillary products coming in an actual package, right? And now, obviously, everything you buy in the cannabis industry, you expect to come in some type of box. But at that point, nails were coming in bags, little plastic bags, and maybe you got a sticker, maybe you didn't.
Well, you just had a box full of nails that you could just like sift through and pull one out, find the other attachment.
Make sure. Yeah, exactly. And we just decided to kind of package something differently, offer a more high-end product, and kind of give people the Apple product of nails at the time.
So ceramic nails was the first one. Hive ceramic nails.
Ceramics.
Like for dabs.
Oh yeah, and we had a Wave collab. We had a Mothership collab. We did really well with it. Definitely one of the more high-end products on the market.
That's super dope.
From there, we decided that we wanted to kind of actually touch cannabis again. And we decided to move up to Oregon when Oregon went recreational. We started a company up there called Madrone Farms, still, crushing stuff out today in Oregon. Awarded a number of different awards across the state for best dispensary, best flower, and a number of other, different things. we had an opportunity about 4.5 years ago to move back to LA.
That's so dope. I don't want to gloss over that. That's fucking dope. What?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Madrone Farms is a really great flower and cannabis company based in Southern Oregon that's doing really cool things. If you guys are ever up there and you're in Ashland looking for a cool dispensary, go check it out. You will not be disappointed in
I'm
the quality.
going. I'm going. We are active in Oregon. We're from Seattle, from Ellensburg. We got homies all throughout Portland and Oregon, U of O, you name it.
We're right off the 5 in Ashland, one of the better dispensaries as far as,
Madrone.
products. And, like one thing that we hang our hats on is making sure the customer experience is dope. So when you go to Madrone Ashland, it feels like a high-end shop. And obviously in Oregon, nothing's as expensive as in Cali. So, you don't feel like you're getting hit on the head that bad.
Yeah.
It's really nice. And then about 4.5 years ago, we had an opportunity to come back. Me and my partners had an opportunity to come back and start Field Extracts. We decided that we really want to get back into the hash making side of things, because at heart we were all hash makers and hash enthusiasts. So we started Field and we started running a lot of hash. We did an essential extracts collab. We did some connected collabs, Skittles, and we kind of became a company focused on.
That Skittles one was crazy. I'm not even gonna lie.
We decided that since we weren't cultivators, that we would focus our company around doing collaborations with the best cultivators in the state.
Yeah.
And since we had been around so long, we had made a lot of good friends, over the years, and a lot of these owners were like, "Yeah, let's give it a shot." So we did really well with Field. Got to the point where the company, was in a great place, and Glasshouse Farms bought us. So we kind of, did our job in that sense, as we built a really cool brand that eventually, a larger corporation wanted to take over. So that was really cool to see that we kind of, everyone tries to build a brand, and, you hope you keep the brand for the rest of your life. But the reality is life is long. And, if you have an opportunity to get out of a project and, be able to move on and start something else, you should. So that's kind of what me and my partners did. We got rid of Field, and now we're a number of us are actually working with Airgraft, hoping to build this into something kind of like we did with Field.
That's super dope. Yeah, Field, I mean, this, man, one of the most respected by the community and in the culture out here for a number of years, just simply because of how in the community you guys really made sure to participate in, right? I think a lot of companies create a brand. It's got very, little to no soul, very little to no participation, or sometimes it's marketing dollars. Sometimes there's little to no money to be able to do things. But even still, like, I've been seeing a lot of companies recently just that can't afford these things because of whatever reason, still going and passing out their stuff,
I think you have to. I mean, this industry is for the people. And if you're not supporting that, then obviously they're not supporting you, right?
Yeah.
And you really see that in the brands that are actively at cannabis events, actively giving back. You can see, the impression that they've made on the customers, on the retail locations. Cannabis has always been, a very environmentally conscious industry. And, a lot of the companies, from the retail side of it, try to help out their communities in doing that. There's all types of beach cleanups and stuff like that down here in SoCal.
Mm-hmm.
And, Field, when we were launching that, we wanted to be a part of that. Because we were from the industry. We had been doing this for a long time, true to this, not new to this, you know what I mean? We weren't going anywhere. So we wanted to make sure we were part of it. So, you got to be at the shows. Even if you don't have a booth, show up, give people some love. They love, the customer appreciates that. With Field, man, we just wanted to be everywhere. We did every cannabis cup we could. When we launched the brand, it was still Prop 215 days, and I was doing secret sessions every Sunday. Me and one of my partners, literally there every Sunday, just, hey, man, you want free dabs? And we just gave out free dabs for 3 hours. And obviously, we got to, get rid of, a little product as well. And people really started to understand, the message behind the brand and what we were trying to do. Back in those days, we were learning how to make, sauce and create diamonds. And it was all a learning process for us. But we got to grow the brand organically, and that really helped because, doing all those small events and all these grassroots types of events allowed us to really build a following. And that's what you saw at Field. And that's kind of what we want to do with Airgraft. Look, we're a tech platform. We're a little different than a lot of other brands in this industry. But the reality is we're here and, we're a part of this industry. And we want to make sure that we're giving back. We want to make sure we're doing events and entering cups because all that matters,
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's a great transition. I'm glad you mentioned this. So in terms of giving back to the community, what kinds of, I guess, community centric things do you guys have on the horizon? Is, are you guys doing anything for, I guess, social equity, or any of the active movements that are going on to help better the community, because the country is just a craziness right now and has
Yeah.
been.
So currently on the books, we have one or two things. The reality is we want to make sure that we can support these causes the correct way, and as opposed to just throwing a couple dollars at it,
Yep.
actually be a part of it. So, for instance, Catalyst is throwing an event, I do believe November 13th, which is like a block party. That it's giving back to veterans. That's an
Right.
event we want to be a part of.
Perfect.
Beach cleanups and stuff like that, stuff we would like to be a part of, right? Protecting
Mhm.
our environment, we think is huge, right? And so for us, we just launched in July, so a
Yep.
lot of these activities haven't even been brought up to us yet, but the ones that have been brought up, we're all in.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Hell
you
yeah.
know, the brand is international; it's based out of Canada. They'll be launching or we'll be launching in Canada at the end of this year. We're also obviously launching here in a number of other recreational states. We want to make sure though that we're not just one of those brands who's here for the money. We're here for the cause, right? And if your cause is giving back to veterans, yeah, that makes sense to us, right? That's something that we.
Absolutely.
If your cause is protecting our environment, cleaning up the beaches, getting rid of some of the plastic that's out there, we want to be a part of that. So those are the kinds of things that we want to do, things that directly affect us. I heard the other day that this isn't our world; we're just borrowing it from our children. And I think that's something that everyone should start thinking like, right? And that's kind of typically what everyone, or actually, it's what everyone feels at Airgraft. When you talk to the crew at Airgraft, and you bring up some of these other events, the veterans thing, beach cleanups, every human is like, yes, yes. How can we do more?
Yeah.
So for us, it's meant even if it's a brand we don't work with, if they have an event going on that is something that's giving back to the community, whether it's just us giving out gift bags or something like that, we want to be a part of that. We don't have to necessarily work with the brand, from a pod standpoint. We'd rather just be a part of it because we're all part of this community. So yeah, Catalyst, for instance, I'm not even in there, but I talked to Bree and I was like, hey, I want to be a part of that. I want to set up a booth. I want to give you batteries for your gift bags. I want to make sure that, this event, Airgraft can be a part of it and help you out. Even though I'm not in your retail location, it doesn't necessarily make sense for me. It makes sense for, the community. So yeah, for
Agreed.
us, we're all about it. Friendly Farms, for instance, did an event 2 or 3 months ago at this point. That was a really cool event to go to that they gave back to some of their biggest fans and some of their customers. We were a part of that. We want to make sure that if there's a way to let the community know that we care, we're in.
I think that's huge. These days, people really want to connect and relate to the brands at a higher level. Excuse me, and to be a part of those kinds of things is not only important to me, but like I said, it's important to a lot of other people out there. So I appreciate you guys being a brand that chooses to participate and also uplift the community in various ways and give back. I think that's huge. Um, Now, I have another hardware question because you got me thinking with like the environment stuff. Uh, they feel like metal or aluminum or steel. Or are they recyclable? Or talk to me a little bit about the hardware situation.
So right now, we're working on a recycling program for our batteries.
Hmm.
Um, the reality is it's a battery, and America doesn't do too well on recycling batteries anyway.
Okay.
It is a polished aluminum battery. The original, the older one, was a silicon nitride, I do believe, and that was a polished one as well. So this one's a little more durable. We don't really have people breaking these. There is a 1-year warranty, so if anything happens, you can obviously just send us the battery back and we'll replace it for you, no problem.
Shout
Um,
out the warranty.
yeah, but we are working on a recycling program so that if people are over it or done with their Airgraft battery, if it stops working, what have you, a little bin at your retail at your dispensary, and we can go from there.
That's
But
super dope.
it's kind of hard to recycle batteries. America doesn't really do a good job of recycling anything, unfortunately.
Absolutely, but again, at least putting the effort towards the eventual creation of some maybe pickup program or something that can take things out of the landfills because gosh, I can clearly think of an LA shop right now that does take back batteries,
Yeah,
and I don't know what they do with them, to be honest. But
I'm not sure, to be honest, but I hope that they're doing something smart with them. I do believe in order to recycle batteries, you have to have like a special pickup, right? So like
Mm.
that's I think a lot of the reason that people are so shitty to our environment is because of laziness, right? So like
It's a fair point. We don't know how to do it better. We are lazy, and then a couple other excuses at the end of the day
yeah,
as well. Yeah. Well, damn, man, that's super interesting. And again, I like the fact that you guys are giving back. You guys have programs coming up. You're a part of this event for veterans with Catalyst. Catalyst is a very respected brand in Southern California. For those that are tuning in and aren't familiar, gosh, they've got I think 3, 4, 5. There's like 5 or 6 Catalyst
I
stores or something like that.
think might be opening their seventh in the near future. Um,
Crazy.
just really killing it as far as Long Beach to like the Vista area, and then a
Yeah.
couple. Well, just doing a really good job as far as being a brand that is community driven and making sure they're about the causes.
Yeah.
Their CEO, whether you like him or not, and he's a very polarizing person, but like he's really about giving back to the community, man. And you can't, that's something that you don't see out of a lot of CEOs, and it's a really refreshing thing to kind of see that, there's someone who is making a good amount of money off this, but at the same time is really giving back and making
Yeah.
sure it's not a one-sided thing. So I can really respect that, and I just really those are the kinds of people that we want to work with in this industry. The people who are looking at it for more than just the dollar signs and looking at it as you know, what are we doing for the people around us? What are we doing for our
Yeah.
community? Because we are a business in this community, we have to care. So it's really cool that Catalyst is doing stuff like that. This block party on the 13th or whenever the date is that they're giving back for the veterans and bringing in gift bags. And I do believe having street vendors come out and all types of stuff. It's a really cool event. So like I said, there's a number of different companies that you want to work with, and Catalyst is at the top of that list because of their community outreach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, in terms of your guys' retail partners, what are some of are you guys you're all covering all of California?
Yes, yes.
So could you possibly maybe go from like the top down, or even because you're from down here, from the bottom
Yeah.
up? For not all of them, but just like maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the SoCal shops that I really like in Long Beach is the Circle.
Yep.
Um, Wonder Bread up in Hollywood is super dope. One of my favorite shops for sure to go to. Urban Joy and
Mm.
Goleta. Uh, Royal Healing Emporium, I do believe, is in Lompoc, which is another really good one.
Shout out Healing and Louie over at Urban Joy.
Yeah, Louis, and Alex over there, they're my peoples.
There you go.
Go a little farther north, Harborside, Oakland. Great shop in Oakland. One of the original shops in California as far as
Hell yeah.
forefront of cannabis legalization.
Mhm.
Gate Cannabis Co. in San Fran. If you get a little higher, I would recommend, to be honest, Amuse. Amuse
Mm.
Delivery covers a large portion of the state, and pretty much no matter where you are, you'd be able to jump on that. High Times Delivery in Sacramento, as well as Main Stage in Sacramento.
Oh yeah.
Another Main Stage carries all of our products. So does High Times Delivery and Amuse. So pretty much anything you want, you can actually order from our site if you'd like to do the direct to customer option, which is having them deliver. But otherwise, there's some really great retail locations and retail partnerships that we've started in these other areas that pretty much can take care of you on any product you need.
That's super dope. So you guys actually have a D2C program for your guys' stuff on your website as well?
100%. And what we do is we make it super simple. You actually complete the transaction on our site, and then we funnel it to the delivery partner that's in your neighborhood or that's in your area. We don't want you to have to, click on a button and then jump to the Amuse site or anything like that. We go ahead and process everything for you, get it all out to you, and then you'll get a confirmation from them as far as delivery.
That's fire, man. It's crazy that we are able to go to cannabis brands' websites, order cannabis, and have it delivered to our area if we fall into an appropriate zip code.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
wild.
the cool part about us being a tech platform, right, is that our site is a little more user friendly and also a little more engaging than most cannabis sites. You go to our site, and not only can you see everything that's on the platform currently, you can figure out where to buy it through our store locator or actually get it delivered through our D2C. So there's really options for every customer as far as whether they want to get it right now or whether they can wait an hour. So, super convenient. We want to make sure like I said earlier, we're taking care of everybody.
That's fire, man. Now we got the holidays coming up. I know we got Halloween this next weekend. We're exactly 7 days out. Do you guys have any kind of deals running for the holiday season? We got Halloween. We've got Green Friday coming up.
So
Christmas coming up, and all the 3 months in a row is about to be nuts.
yeah, 3 months in a row of like real actual holidays. Yeah, I mean, so anytime you see a brand ambassador or one of our retail experience coordinators out at the shop, they'll be giving batteries with every purchase. A lot of times the stores themselves will be able to run ghost PADs without someone being there. So, you can pretty often get a battery without having to purchase it. And that's a lot of times where you're going to get as far as a deal from us because we're, already giving you a discount on your oil. And no matter what, buying, Airgraft is a deal in itself, is the way we're looking at it. But right now, currently, we have Bear Labs doing a buy one, get one free. So any of their pods that you purchase, you'll get a second pod for, I guess, a penny or $1 or whatever the retail store decides to actually price it at. But, that's a super deal that, no one's going to give you anywhere else. I do believe they retail for $40. So $40 gets you 2 full gram liquid diamond pods from Bear Labs, an award-winning processor in California.
Fire. Man, I'm gonna have to go check that out. I haven't had a pod since Hall of Flowers, so I'm gonna have to tap back in with you guys.
There's still, for people who are new to the platform, we still have a referral program going on our website. So if you refer, we give you a pod for free. So there's some really cool things that we're doing to kind of give back to customers that are jumping on the platform for the first time, where we'll really hook it up, and those pods are delivered from Amuse to your door. You have to do nothing for them.
That's super dope, man. Well, Alex, I really appreciate all the information today. It was really great to, or I'm sorry, Mike. It was really great to group chat. It was really great to get to learn about the company, and to hear also about your background. I had no idea that you have been involved in so much cool stuff. Everything from a drone in Oregon, which if it's been around since the last 10 years or 5 to 10 years, right, or so, that brand.
5 years for Madrone in Oregon, yeah, maybe 6 at this point, to be honest.
See, and that's crazy because if it's right off the freeway, I know for a fact I've been right there because I've been to like 4 dispensaries in Ashland. I just don't know the name because it's been a year. So it's like I'm gonna have to go check that out. That's my trip all the way back up whenever I go back home up to Washington. So I'm gonna have to check.
I'll get you a tour of the farm and everything like that as well. The farm is in Jacksonville, so 20-minute drive from the store. Farm, making a bunch of really good hash up there as well right now. Definitely something to check out.
Well, man, now that I've got to ask this too, you're from DC, so you're from out in the DC area. Then you go to Maryland, then you're in Oregon. I assume you've made your way north to check it out, right? A little bit in Washington. You had to have.
Of course. I spent a little time as the GM of our Portland store as well. When you're in Portland, you could spit into Washington.
Yeah, you're a skip jumping away from that super duper cheap store that sells just a boatload of weed down there in southern Washington. I forget the name of it, man. What is that? Main Street Marijuana down there? I think it's the
across the board. Yeah,
I cannot remember.
You rarely shop at others. You know what I mean?
I totally understand. Now, I guess this is the last question I've got for you because I'm interested in hearing your opinion on this. When you're searching through all these brands and you've got all these partners, and then you've run dispensaries, and then you created a dabbing product, you've been a part of tons of secret sessions, I've been a part of a ton of cups. Sitting there right now, do you have it's like when they ask the rappers, top 5 dead or alive. Do you have like a top 5 favorite products that you've tried or that you can remember sitting here like, holy shit?
Across this or
I guess just like a top 5, brands, products, dead or alive right now. Yeah, this is a new question I'm going to be asking of people that have been in the game for a minute.
Top 5 products right now. Okay, so just in no particular order. 710 Labs, as far as concentrates go, I think they do almost a second to none job as far as really good hash, really good rosin. their sticklers, Brad over there is a real stickler for quality, and everything they put out is just really good. Alien Labs on the flower side of things, they've been killing it for forever as far as just making or growing some of the best cannabis in the state. For everything from their genetics to what they do as far as their growing techniques, or they're just doing shit differently. And it's not reinventing the wheel, right? So like that's the cool part about Alien is you like talk to Ted about what they're actually doing, and it's like you're baffled that they're using techniques from 20 years ago and growing some of the best weed in the state, right? So Alien for sure.
That's fire.
You talk to Ted and it's incredible. You're like, hold on, what? And he's like, yeah, dude.
They have the most expensive weed in the state. So
most expensive weed in the state, and you ask them like, what are you doing differently? And they're like, nothing. And you're like, okay, sweet, dude. Like you're just killing it, right? So great humans over there at Alien Labs.
And it's worth it too every time. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, right. As far as the product standpoint, Puffco. As far as like just giving you an option that didn't exist before. Look, like I'm sitting at home and I've got a rig sitting here, right? Like I am going to take a real dab right now, but anytime I'm traveling, I have to have my peak on me, right? Because I'm not just going to carry a rig and a torch and everything that comes along with it, right? And I used to walk around with a pelly case in my backpack, right? But that gets old really quick, and the times change. So carry around a Puffco anytime I leave the house because I'm a dabber, and that's something I just have to have on me. The deal. So that's 3 as far as favorites. Edibles.
Those are 3 solid favorites. So I mean, nothing to scoff at.
Edibles. I'm trying to like give you something, a little something and everything.
I mean, you're a seasoned vet here, man. I mean, this is the thing. Is it's like people think that like my perspective matters. Hell no, I ain't been in the game doing all this cool ass shit that you've been doing, bro. Like, damn.
In tincture side, Carter's Aromatherapy Designs.
Yep, familiar.
Products on the market, bar none. Like if you guys don't know and you have anyone in your life who needs who needs CBD of any kind, please look into Carter's. It goes by CAD, CAD.
Oh yeah.
Father had pancreatic cancer. Carter and I had met years ago through Field. He gave me a ton of stuff for my father that actually helped. And Carter is just an amazing person. He does give backs as far as he has a program that if customers can't afford his cannabis or his products, he will cover the difference of what you can afford. So he allows customers to go to a dispensary and say, I got $15 and I know this costs $40, but Carter has a program for me and he'll cover it. And he'll cover your costs on it, right? So if you really need your Carter's going to make sure you get it, which is something that no company will do, right? And that's just
I've never heard of that anywhere before.
Dude, it's so crazy, right? And no one does that if they're only about profits, right? But Carter's like, nah, this is medicine. I make CBD products. I make tinctures. I'm going to make sure I get it into the right people's hands. So that's my
powerful.
And then 5th, I want to give you an edible company because I feel like that's a major.
How about this? I'll help. Because I've been in Oregon too, so I know some Oregon ones. So there's that syrup from Oregon everybody loves. I don't know the name, but you know the one I'm talking about. It's the classically famous one from Oregon. People prefer that one over others.
I know.
In other states, more than cannabis, more than anybody. Like that one I've heard for years, more than anybody else. So then I think it's a Dabinol. That's what it's called. Yeah, Dabinol. So there's that one. Then there's Wana and Wild. And then I'm going to include beverages in there. So just pick one of these. Then there's Can. In Oregon, there's live resin sodas and other sodas besides Keef Cola. So if you know any of those craft ones that you can think of. And then Chiba Juice is classic, right?
Are they still rec?
I have a Chiba Chew thing here from Hollow Flowers.
Good. Because one of the classics right there, that Decadose, man.
Yeah, and then I can't leave out Kiva and Kurova because they're classically from here, and also I believe in Colorado.
I'm gonna throw a wrench in here and ask if you've tried the Pabst like high seltzer.
Forgot to mention other beverages: the Pabst, Arnie's, and People have been mentioning those wonders, I guess.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I tried a Pabst. I thought it was pretty good, actually.
The lemon tastes like real lemon.
Yeah, right. And I don't mind that. PBR is like a beer that I used to drink when I was a child, so I'm like, yeah, I like that, right? I like that they're getting cannabis, so that makes me happy. But if I'm being honest, wild gummies are probably on the top of that list that we just kind of went through.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the deal. They're in Oregon. They're down here. I mean, I got really familiar in Oregon when I was purchasing for a store. I used to hope that they would come in with the non-medicated ones because I was just like eating their gummies, to be honest.
The raspberry ones are so good. And then out there, like people don't know this. Like out here, you come out here in Cali, what's a Marionberry? You know, they're like, what's a this kind of berry? And and it's like where we from, like blackberry's huge in Washington, salmonberries up there, all that kind of shit. Huckleberry, Marionberries, all that kind of stuff is all over the Pacific Northwest.
The Marionberry, like, down here, people are like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, yeah, it's delicious. Just eat it. Like,
Try it as a pie the next chance you get.
The peach ones are probably my favorite. I think the peach ones are CBD as well. Yeah, those are really good. So, like, those are probably my favorite. And I don't really eat a lot of CBD or take any CBD for that matter. So, like, that says something when, I prefer your CBD gummy to your THC gummy.
That one, for me, I actually really enjoy eating half of that one because of so for me, I use edibles to sleep. And then I'll take not CBD, I'll take sativa types of, or live resin types of edibles for for a strain specific effect, right? And the wilds, man, those peach ones are just dangerous. Yeah, and the raspberry ones to me just taste fucking incredible. So big shout out to Wild and all the companies. Do you have a favorite? And then you mentioned you like the Pabst ones. I'm definitely in alignment with you on the Pabst. I sleep on that one, but I do think that's the best tasting seltzer in the state.
And I don't eat a lot of edibles. I smoke too much, so when I eat an edible, I'm asleep by 10 at night, and I'm wondering like what happened. But it's because I had edibles, right? So typically, but that Pabst High Seltzer was really good.
Yeah, like I know I had one right here. I have these David Garcia ones that I haven't even tried yet, so I'm going to just eat one here for the last one while we sign out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, check it. The David Garcia ones.
Oh, those are dope.
No.
Guitar.
Cool packaging. But man, Mike, this is a pleasure, man. I appreciate getting to know you, man. Hanging out, learning about Airgraft. You answered all my questions. I couldn't think of anything else to ask. I had to switch it over and keep going because for me, it's pretty simple. You guys introduce new hardware to the market. You guys are strong at the technology. Your platform saves people money. The more people use it, the more they save, right? I did not know about the algorithmic heating stuff, so that was super cool to know that each pod, just like packs, has information that's set by the brands, right? To then kind of dictate the heating settings. So to me, head to head, fucking love that shit. That's super dope. Did not know that before today. So big shout out to that. RMR exclusive. Let's go. And then your pod partners. I've had Friendly Farms. I need to get a hold of those Bear Labs ones. Super excited to try out that and see what other ones you guys on board. You guys shared. We also have in Canada. You're launching in Canada and across other states in the U.S., man. So very, very exciting, brother. Thank you so much for being on today's episode.
Thank you for having me, brother. I really appreciate it.
Now, before we get on out of here, we always like to say, if you have anyone you'd like to shout out or any kind of thing that you'd like to share, any kind of stuff coming up, now's the last chance.
Yeah, I mean, catch us at Hall of Flowers for sure. The last one that just passed, we gave out a ton of pods to people, made sure everyone really got to try the platform, and obviously, things are working out since. But as far as shout outs, the whole Airgraft team really, because we're a tech platform, we can do things that other people really can't do. For instance, since everything's microchipped, we can figure out changing heating algorithms across our entire platform and making sure that, we're dialing this in to make sure the user experience is what they want it to be, because this is about the customers and not about us. So, shout out to the team. They've been working super hard on dialing everything in, making sure that the product is as good as it can be. And obviously, we're going to keep innovating and keep coming up with new things. So, keep your eyes out for new products coming on the Airgraft platform.
Man, let's go. Everybody, Mike Swann from Airgraft. This was episode 40. Man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here with me tonight. late into a Sunday evening. I know we went a little bit over, but I just couldn't help it because the more information I learned about you, the more it became just so apparent that you guys have a very strong leadership core. You guys have a very strong amount of experience. You guys know products. You sold the products. You've bought the products. You just said it. You were a buyer, stacking the experience up and getting your teeth in the game, like in a lot of ways there. So really appreciate you being here with me tonight. Everybody watching, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Please, comment. Do what you guys got to do. Go follow Airgraft. Tap in. Mike, you said earlier at Airgraft Official, right, on Instagram. Please go follow that. And then what's your guys' website?
Airgraft.com.
Easy. Super simple, easy. There we go. Everybody go visit airgraft.com. And again, this was episode 40. Mike, thank you again. Y'all have a good night, all right? Peace.